Hi everyone, this is Felix here. I am delivering to you today the energy report of May 2022. So today is Thursday the 28th of April, and boy has it been a month. There have been so many things going through April with these giant transits through the resurrection gateways and now coming into a period of eclipses. There is it just never ends, really. So we have had such a pivotal month for healing and updates, and also a lot of truth as well that's been rising to the surface, truth within us, for us to really recognize and see within ourselves, but also within the realities. Through that presentation, we are getting the recognition that we have been looking for, the answers that we've been looking for to be coming forward and coming out. And I can tell you now, May is just going to get more crazy. That's the only light way I can put it. So without further ado, I suggest we just jump straight in. We've got multiple topics to look at today. We have got eclipses to look at as well. We have got a little meditation at the end. But primarily, let's focus upon the energy reports. So the first topic that has been coming up is this energy of revolution, like a revolutionary energy. So I see this coming forward through as a kind of it's coming through the more people are gossiping and discussing with one another of their gradual awareness of what's been going on in the world. So let's say that. And then I feel with like the action of like a snowball effect. So when one person talks about something and then that anger, the kind of almost gossipy connections that come with that really progress forward with this, and it gains more momentum and awareness throughout the members of the public, if that makes sense. So it's progressing from day to day. This will be an ongoing thing over the next couple of months to really rise up. But the movements of anger, of realizing what's really been going on is coming to the surface now. And this will be passed from person to person, and it will gain momentum, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so all of these things are going to be coming up and really kind of showing themselves, which then progressively lead towards a revolution, let's say. No, this is not just going to be within one country, it's going to be through many. But this will just continue through that. So how can we really navigate this time to our highest ability, let's say, to our highest trajectory? And what I'd say, well, what I've been receiving is for the ones who are already aware and awake, they know what's been going on. I would say what I've been told is that you will be the rainbow bridge to help and facilitate the other people who are just getting their heads around this now. Not from a place of judgment, not from a place of, I told you so. This has to be done with love, with understanding, because everybody opens up and comes into their awareness in their own time. They need to be able to serve their ranges that they are working through at that time, ready for them to then spring awake and aware. Now, as for the people who have already gone through this, myself included, it can be quite an explosive period. So be there to be able to help and guide and offer assistance, but also maintain healthy boundaries within yourself so you don't get caught up in the crossfire, let's say. This will be a real bridge point of union between, let's say, between worlds, between the bifurcation. So we can then come back together as a unified field. So we're coming together on the same page. Okay, so that is one of the leading energies I'm seeing coming through over the next couple of months, but really coming through starting around this time, around May. Okay. So what we always find with these messages, that there is a lot of contradiction, because we're not just looking at one person's outcome, we're looking at many, many outcomes, for many people as a whole, when we kind of tap into this, this cooking pot of emotion, cooking pot of energy. So this next topic that I'm really kind of being drawn to look at, or was drawn to look at, is acceptance and grace. So how people will be starting to step back from, take a step back from themselves and kind of review their own actions. So these next couple of topics kind of go hand in hand, really. So the acceptance is kind of coming into peace with the past, I suppose. Now, within my own healing as well, I've noticed this. This has been a continuous topic, is to let go of the past and to forgive the actions that we've done in the past, with the kind of thought forms and the behaviors that it just doesn't serve you, doesn't serve us anymore. So it's to accept the things that we cannot change and to move beyond and come back into love, into grace. Yeah. So it's not just within these kind of points as well. We need to kind of accept other people for their actions too. Now, I say that accepting other people for their actions as well, it's very important that we kind of work with compassion to understand why people act the way they do, but at the same time promoting healthy boundaries within oneself. So really, I would say we're looking more so towards the emerald flames and the ruby tones for boundary and compassion to work together in synthesis. So we're not just taking it within ourselves, we're also looking at it on the people that come into our lives. If they do things to hurt us, why are they doing that? Why are they acting the way they're doing? Why are they overstepping their boundaries? Is a good one to kind of look at. Overstepping my boundaries, overstepping your boundaries. And how can we kind of accept their actions, really by looking at the programs that they're holding and the pain that they're holding in themselves to do these things, but then again, backing up with our own dominance, with our own strength and boundary within that process as well, so we don't get walked all over and we don't get treated badly, because we need to be able to do these things, because like standing up for ourselves is the greatest act of self-love. And to be in balance, we need to be able to give love, and we need to be able to take love for ourselves. I know a lot of people really struggle to do that kind of thing. And it's just a case of kind of working through it and understanding. So yeah, identifying emotional instability throughout these periods and accepting the reasons behind it to push us to let go. Okay. Now this one is quite a funny one that I thought coming up, like within the healing journey, particularly my own healing journey, coming from a background of addiction, is really starting to identify those addictive personality traits. And these things don't just come in from substance abuse or alcohol abuse. It's also emotional addiction that we need to start becoming aware of, that we are being pushed to take a look at, and how we can break down those programs and those patterns to come into a more grounded state of being and not getting controlled by these products, these programs. Yeah, so addictive behavioral awareness is another topic that's coming up for May. Recognizing and observing addictive behavioral patterns. So this can be going through from drugs to alcohol. It can be going through mental patterns. So how do we think about ourselves? How do we think about others? Where do these thoughts come from? What's the patternage behind it, and where do they root into when we look into the fields? Are they coming from an imbalance within your own structure, or is it an external influence that's bringing these thoughts into your field, into your trajectory? So it's becoming aware of these things and how can we deal with them? How can we work through this? We can also take this into identifying addictive patterns in relationship behaviors. So let's say, trying to think of an example. Okay, so you're with a partner and the partner treats you really badly. Now, this partner is physically abusive, emotionally abusive, breaks up with you all the time, but then gets back with you, and you just allow it to happen. So what are we identifying here? We're identifying patterns of addiction within the emotional subsector. We're looking at attachment issues as well. So again, that goes down to addiction. And we're looking at many different things with this topic, but it's kind of identifying what is right for us and what we need to kind of step away from. So when we see these things, we get that feeling that we need to move away, but we don't. What are we missing to make us complete enough to be able to stand up and leave? So we're looking at all these little subtleties within our lives that we aren't receiving, and we go back to the abuser to essentially get abused again, but just to receive a little bit of attention, maybe. Yeah, so it's not necessarily a comfortable thing to think of. I mean, May is going to be very, very strong on the healing front, I'd say. It's going to be big on introspection, which we'll get to in our next topic. So then if we move on to like the mental addictive patterns, let's take negative thinking for an example. If one was to think negatively about another person, then we can break it down, as we are all kind of programmed and conditioned into being more analytical rather than emotional. I think depending on where you are in your journey, I'm very much more so on the emotional side of things, so I can feel more so that way. But there are times when I just need to think. So with this, if we look at the mental addictive patterns, we can dissect and see what it is that's going into that negative thought pattern. So why, as an example, why do I think negatively about this person? What does this person have that I don't? What does this person make me feel like that I am so insecure that I have to think like negatively about them? We can then take it deeper and look into the reasons why, and then going into the victimhood side of things. Okay, so why is this person making me feel like this when they haven't actually done anything necessarily to me? And then we go into blame, nastiness, gossip to badmouth. So all of these things kind of come together, but then how do we break these thought forms? How do we synthesize through them? And we can come into more observation through our thoughts and then start to process, okay, this is coming in, I'm feeling this yucky, horrible bitterness inside, but how can I make that nice? So then immediately they're showing me gold and white diamond to come into the body, into the thought form. As it begins to merge with that concept, with that emotion, I can now see, I can feel within my body as well, the modulations of the waveform beginning to neutralize. Even they're also showing me like a mesh as well here, like a golden mesh to come into this, almost like a lining to a new infrastructure. And now as this mesh is coming into the core point, I'm seeing the core point as like a white sphere, but it's carrying shell after shell after shell of this black goopy density. And as the gold mesh is coming into that, it reminds me of like a gauze that you put on if you burn yourself. So as this mesh gauze thing connects into that sphere, I'm now seeing all of this black goo dripping off and falling off from that. So playing with emotions, playing with color can really benefit with healing a trauma, or healing a thought form. And then of course you can take it further and you can really dive deeper and map through the sort of sections of where this kind of originated from. It's always a good way to look as well. Okay, so as I said earlier, the introspection is quite big for May. So what I've noticed is April was very, very intense, and a lot of transits going on. There was a lot of healing work to be done, and a lot of structuring the fields as we went through these quite intense transits. And what I feel coming in for May is very much a time to reflect on that, to come into stillness and to kind of build awareness around what has been going through. So the analogy that I was shown for this topic was, imagine you've got like a geode. So the geode shell, imagine this is like a sphere, and you've got a drill and you're cracking and cracking and cracking, and it's taking ages to crack. And you are getting tired, you are getting emotional, you just want to get to the inside of this geode. The more persistent you stick with this and repeat the tasks to kind of break through. So say we're going into emotion, we have to sit there in stillness and breathe and breathe and breathe, feeling all of this emotion rise up and open. And when you finally open it all, you get to the lovely crystal. You get to the gift that's coming through. So this gift can be, well, is the healing, or it will be the gnosis, the understanding and the, yeah, like the gnosis behind why you had this tough time breaking through it. So you have to really work work through it, but it's not like a kind of way that you can just sort of not a kind of way that you can like just get done in 5 minutes. Some things, sometimes it just takes a little bit longer to kind of work through. So really you're pushing through these emotional and mental barriers of resistance to really get to the goods, get to the core and break through these limiting blockages that we're holding on to. So yeah, and I guess like with this kind of work as well, when we do crack the shell, let's say, and get to the core, as we're cracking this shell, we're going to be going through multiple different trigger points as well. So it might be that one day you're going through something and you get triggered massively into unlocking the shell. Now it's very, very scary at times when this sort of stuff happens because it can shock you. Now, can we separate apart that shock and really get into the physical attributes and understand why we get this kind of reaction to coming into triggers? So understanding what those trigger points are, and identifying the feelings and the emotions behind it. I am reading some notes as well, by the way. Really getting to the point of it, who the people are, where the place was that this happened, and how did it make you feel. So working through all these things, I find is always best to do in isolation, in deep reflection. So one of the cards, I actually pulled some cards, I haven't got them with me, on this month as well. After I wrote all of this, I always like to channel first, and then I'll use my cards as a validation. And one of the card that came up for this month was the Hermit, or for this particular topic. The other ones, there was let me see. Like the Six of Swords was for the addictive behavior, and yeah. So that being said, working with resistance and working through it, but also taking that time for yourself, because this type of work, it can be quite tiring and it can be quite draining, and having that sacred space where you can come back and just recuperate on your own, and allow these emotions to come up in peace. It's always a really great way to kind of heal oneself. And as we're going deeper into the healing topic, a lot of this month is going to be bringing up ancestral work to do as well. So identifying patterns of the past. Now you might think, oh, that's crazy. How can you find these ancestral patterns if you've never met them before? So really with this, it's kind of settling in and recognizing the patterns in yourself first, and then looking beyond. You're going to be seeing them. Oh, actually, my mom did that. Oh, my dad did that. And understanding, okay, so this is where that sort of stemmed from originally, but then how far back does it go? And then when you start to journey into those patterns and into those behaviors, you start to then allow the origins to surface. Sometimes it can also be like ancient things, it can be off-world stuff. It's quite an interesting process to go through, but it will show you the levels of imbalance that are showing from the family side of things. So you can really identify these patterns and programs from the parents. You can identify when you start to move into those patterns. What are your trigger points for it? That's a good question to ask yourself about that, and understanding why you picked them up. And then really going into process and clear out the lineage. You can, again, using color, you can ask if you are guided to, you can ask how to release. Depending on the scope variant, you can work into the 12 tribes of Israel, through the diagonal axis, and release that way. So yeah, this is it's an interesting topic to kind of work through, I suppose. Now, the next thing, changing topics completely, and I think many will kind of be quite pleased to hear this, I suppose. The thing that came to me for this one was abundance flows. So really, I was quite excited to hear that as well, because April was quite a stiff month. But with this abundance flowing, what I was shown was all of these beautiful fields filled with flowers rising up, and I'm seeing bags and bags of them just being filled with these flower heads. And you're just free to kind of take them. So dialing back from the vision to a reality, to a realistic perspective, we can see this as opportunities to grow your businesses, to grow in all directions. Now, I remember last month laying the foundations for the manifestations for business deals going forwards, and getting a lot of yeses for April. So like wins for the light, let's say. I feel like this is like a continuation of that, where we can really see this stuff coming into fruition, really almost tangible, like we can take it. So we're seeing it all coming into full flourish now. And again, this will be a continuation over the next couple of months, seeing this kind of glory come to play. Now, one of the things I was kind of shown with this is that on one side of the tree, there's this gorgeous golden apple that's ready for your taking, that looks delicious, it looks gorgeous. And without knowing, on the other side of the tree, there are thousands. So just because we've seen this one really great thing, we are not to miss out on the abundance that is also around the other side. So really, I guess what I'm saying with this is don't limit yourselves just on one thing. Be open, take a step back and see the whole. See that there is a lot more coming, or that there is a lot more for you to choose from, rather than just that one apple. Yeah. So I thought that was quite a nice thing to end that side of the energy report on. Now, as we move into the 16th and 17th of May, this was quite a wild one for me. So this is moving into the full moon lunar eclipse territory in Scorpio and Sagittarius, depending on where you are in the world and what day it falls under for you. So I will be doing a webinar on this topic because I feel it will be a very, very important day to kind of work through. So what I was shown for the benefits for the body and for the health and healing are research. So huge cellular upgrades for the cell body, and an expansion of the psychic gifts. Once again, I had the Lady of the Lake come through, and she then kissed on my forehead, which then expanded into multiple different territories. Really, it felt very much like a divine feminine activation and expansion of all psychic gifts, going into ancient memory recall, light body activations, Christ consciousness acceleration, and angelic codes as well. So on this ancient memory recall thing, I thought this was quite interesting because as the Lady of the Lake came through, as she kissed me on my forehead, I was then expanded into what felt and looked like either Turkey or somewhere in the Middle East. I can't quite define. I have tried looking, but I saw this huge rock monument that was in the center of the city, that was up into a point. So it was like a cube with a kind of point, like a house, I suppose. I don't know what they're called. And that was stretched out, and it was like a focal point of the city. Now I'm seeing this, these codes coming in and entering through into the apex of this this stone, this structure. And I'm seeing all of these codes coming in and going into the earth and into the land. So as this this is working its way through, I felt like the earth was being purged and cleared from inside the earth. So like connecting into the ancient sites and ancient structures, and into maybe like Agartha and these inner earth sanctums through the inner earth grids as well. And that was bringing up and releasing a lot of this residual trauma. So as this was occurring, let me try and just get back into that zone of when it was actually happening. So as this was occurring, I'm also seeing like these ancient sites that have been long forgotten, missed, coming back to the surface. Now I thought this was quite bizarre. So I feel with this, one of the things that was said was ancient lands to re-emerge, connecting back once again. So I'm seeing this now, and I'm seeing 1444 as the time. These lands coming back up and reconnecting into civilization. So we're coming back, receiving that ancient knowledge once again, and we're receiving activation of these structures to come back online, and start kind of transmitting the frequencies throughout the planet. I don't know the right words to call it at the moment. Yeah, so that was a real big kind of pivotal moment in that vision. And then as the earth lines were clearing, I'm also seeing it coming through the subconscious. This is why all this healing is going to be so important for this month. There's going to be so much coming up and coming off. So from that point, I'm then taken to a building that's similar to like the White House, I suppose. And as I'm stood outside, I'm feeling I'm coming to a point of finance. So I feel like this is connecting to the financial side of things. That was just the initial thought that came in. I do trust it. So as I'm stood outside there, I'm then dropping down through the floor and coming into these tunnels. So as I move through the tunnels, I'm seeing the codes light up along the walls, coming to this center point, which is like a plinth or something that you put a statue on. And on the top of it in this room, there was a green emerald pyramid. So this green emerald pyramid is sat there, and there is a yellow dragon that comes down and enters into the apex of the pyramid. Now, as I say this on the 28th, I'm going to tune in again to this a little bit later on, just to see if I can get more information for it. I will possibly do another video on it. But the first thing that came to my mind with this was yellow dragon bonds. Now, those who know, they know. It's worth checking into and just sort of expanding your awareness into that. But this could be a point when they do go, when the dragon bonds are in movement, let's say. Yeah. So yeah, that was all to do with the lunar eclipse. So then moving back out of these tunnels, I'm then taken to a scene where I'm looking over all of these ancient civilizations once again, and there is a weather vane that stood in the center, on top of a building, and it's magenta pink, and the sun from one side. I'm seeing all of these winds coming through and knocking the weather vane to face the other direction, and the sun rises up and sets down in the other direction. So I feel like this is a big tide turning, possibly something to do with the solar storms. Just something to kind of keep your mind on and just see what comes up. Okay, now today on the 28th, I was taken into a like a meeting hall once again, and this was an interesting one. So as I come into this meeting hall, I get a real strong feeling of like anticipation, not quite fear, but I guess if I drank coffee, it would be like I've had about like 7 cups of coffee. So I'm kind of jittery and not feeling as comfortable as I could do. Now, when the person comes onto the stage, I'm looking around and the room is filled with people, it's filled with different beings, angelics, galactic, and they're all coming in from these different locations around the world, around the galaxies even, and dimensional places, coming in and taking their seats. So it's like we're all there to kind of be prepped for something, if that makes sense. So as this is all coming, what I'm being shown is like natural disasters almost. However, once when I dug a little bit deeper into this, obviously, I don't see these as natural disasters. So, for example, one of them was like an avalanche. Now, last year I had the vision of an avalanche coming down, and this was like everything starting to break down now. So now that this sort of vision has come back again in this scenario, I'm seeing this as like the deluge of information coming in. So the deluge of information coming forwards to kind of bring all the exposure to the public, to the people. again, I see this as a progression, not necessarily everything's going to happen all in May. I think it will continue. So yeah, so that's kind of coming to the front, and I'm also then shown pigs eating a carcass as well. So I thought, okay, that's weird. And it was almost like it was like hiding the body. So as I dig deeper into that, I'm then sort of given the information that this will be the equivalent to hiding the evidence. So big revelations and hiding the truth, I feel, coming forward through this. So really, this was a kind of way to step forward. It was an extension of the uprising, the revolution uprising part of the energy report, of how to navigate this. So they go into like starting to explain helping with family members, with the public, making sure you've stocked up on groceries, tins, things like that. Now I've been saying this for like over a year, because I had the initial download in like around this time actually last year. So yeah, that was interesting. So I was told stock up on food way back then. So now to have all of this sort of stuff coming in, once again, I feel it's kind of imminent, with the feelings that came with it. So just prepare yourselves for change, prepare your family members, understand that some people aren't aware of what's been going on, treat them with compassion, help them. We need to step into our source light selves to work through and be that expression for the change to occur. Okay, so many people will have tasks to do during this progression, during this time. The information will come to you when the time is right. Your knowing will kick in and you'll be like, oh, I need to go. I can think of a really bad excuse, not a bad example now. So, oh, I need to go and like stock up on all these tins for grandma or something like that. So, you know, these things will kind of unravel themselves to you, and just trust these weird thoughts that you're having. Yeah, so it will all kind of come together naturally for the people that know, and for the people that don't know, just help them. Okay, so that is everything that I have divined from the second half of April for May. I really hope it resonates with you. I hope it helps you navigate the months to come, and the months to come even. And I will just have one other thing before we go into meditation here. And that is, I have a new course kind of thing on my website now, and it is called Expand, and it is designed to help you work through blockages within your meditations, where you're getting stuck and stagnant, and how to really progress a lot further. So each week I will be posting out a new meditation with this service. And as each week progresses, you can do the meditation as many times as you want, working with different intentions and things like that. So I can see all the codes coming in now. So as you progress through with this week by week, on the fourth week, let's say we can do a group Q&A to see where and who are getting stuck in what places. Some people might be having the same problem, so it might help one another. But also with this service, I'll be doing a one-to-one with you to kind of help you progress and navigate the fields and navigate your own healing journey, and see really where you're getting stuck, so you can focus on that in the months to come. Say months to come, it can be done as fast as possible, or sometimes you might need to take a little bit more time. So really it's built to help you expand, basically. So yeah, that will be under the let me have a look. I think it's under the pricing tab on the main site. That's www.felixhyde.com. I will just double check now. Yeah, pricing, plans and pricing next to book online. So yeah, I'm going to be doing that first video tomorrow, and it's the official launch is at 10 a.m. on the 1st of May. So yeah, I really hope to see you all there. I would love to see you all expand to your best ability. And we can begin now by taking deep breaths in, placing the palms facing up in the lap. The symbol for receiving, breathing in liquid gold light. As we see the gold expand through the spine, opening forward through the tulip. I'm seeing the tulip coming through here. As we begin to connect the green stem of the plant down to the root chakra. Where the flower, the red tulip flower, begins to grow through the heart. It appears some people need to be exercising this compassion through the boundary and boundary through the compassion. So we can see this structure now merging through into the body, opening forward through a crystal diamond structure. Around your being. Nakirasna atapuyi tiha. Saskaya hanti sha'atarasna anana namahai. Each corner of the structure holds a sphere, and as it begins to integrate, I'm seeing the yellow and orange flame ignite within each sphere, illuminating the progressions. Mahatirasna ashantana akia. Maho kotoshna utoprosna atayi. Sikirasna ashatayanam mahatapoyotoyana at. I begin to see, it's very strange. I'm seeing like the snake plants coming forwards now. So I'm seeing this actually as like the serpent consciousness rising up out of the grasses, out of the crystal structures. And as I look a little bit deeper, I begin to see the motions of the snakes coming forward, so we can bring the surfactant crystal liquid light through the crystal structures, releasing the densities, releasing the darkness, releasing and sealing out the serpent consciousness, the viper. Hakorashna atapayi atayana et manya atorosna ushukutu utuburasna ashahini. Some of you might get quite cold during this. The cold being the release. Sario todos no osho koto yana an mai kia hene keres ne shitia atayan manu och koto shmo otapai. White spheres now connecting into the spherical reference points of the blueprints. The spheres that are holding the flames merging together, building forth through the harmonics. Releasing more of the snake consciousness. Nariyotanam namaha kutui shoto ma'ai. Tonal arc light, building through the body, through the center point, through the torus. Can see the heart swinging like a pendulum, returning to the center point. Entering forward through the halls of light. Opening forward through the nucleus. The restoration of the teal, the turquoise, the blue. Building through the Janasa. Connecting into the source angelic, to the center point of the pyramid. Solar arc light aligns through the center point. These streams of blue, turquoise, and teal. Coming down into the center of the pyramid. Now seeing the pyramid departicularize, leaving just codes where the walls were. As they merge into and through the body of the many and the one. Building into the geometries. And connecting into the human. Merging together as one. We now update localized grids, we update the field point references. Updating fields, sealing forward through the beloved, sealing forward through the source origins. And when you're ready, you can come back. And I thank you so much for listening. I will hope to see you on the Expand program. And also, when this video goes out today on the 1st of May, which is a Sunday, I believe, double check that. Yeah, on the Sunday, I have a free event called Self-Care Sunday. Now this happens once a month, and you just have to go onto my site and find the page, and then you will RSVP. It's at 6 p.m. on the first Sunday of every month. That's correct. First Sunday of every month, and it runs for about an hour. So we work through different healing things and activations. Anyway, I wish you a wonderful month of May. Eternal happiness, love, and joy. Bye, everyone.